You were in Forrest Gump?
I was the guy with no legs.
Oh, that guy.
That guy. Okay.
What's Forrest Gump?
Hollywood got very anti-war, anti-Iraq. I have a role to play here in supporting the folks that are serving out there.
I'm sure you've had to deal with a lot of politicians in your life.
A fair amount.
I'm going to go ahead and guess every one since the movie Forrest Gump came out.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm among friends here now.
Say hi to Eli. He's racially ambiguous. And Brandon, his hair is fucking fabulous. And Donut, a dark joke disposition. And there's a fat electrician. Welcome to Unsubscribe.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Unsubscribed podcast. I'm joined today by Eli Doubletap, Fat Electrician, our very special guest, Gary Sinise. We're in his office. We're his guest, honestly. Brandon Herrera, myself, Donald Operator. Thank you so much for being here.
Mr. Gary, holy crap, we've been excited for this one for months now. Since last year, I think we've been trying to set something up, and finally everything worked out, and now we are here. And we are stoked because,
Cody's upset. He's got more challenge coins than all of us.
No, I'm a little upset by it. I thought I had the biggest challenge coin collection in the world, and then I walk into here, and I told Gary, I'm like, dude, you have so many challenge coins. He said, well, you haven't seen the other room full of challenge coins.
We have to have some place to put them all, yeah.
Well,
thanks for coming.
Eli's being extra
absolutely.
respectful when he's not swearing intentionally.
I was
caught
like, I
that.
won't even curse right now. You're probably used to it.
Thanks for coming, guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much for having
It's
us.
good to be here.
So for a quick, I don't even know how to start this one because you've done so much work in the veteran space, and that's what is awesome to see from all our ends. Is just the sheer amount of work and good you do and how to change the lives. And tell the people what got you on that journey, because I think that's a super important one. Because you have a family, you come from a line of veterans in your entire family history, right?
Yeah, that's where it would start with me. That's my dad right there. He was in the Navy during Korea. Navy guy. Up there, that's my Uncle Jack. He was a navigator on a B-17 bomber in World War II, and this is my Uncle Jerry on the left. He was in the Navy during World War II. My grandfather, right there, who served in the Army during World War I. And I've got a great uncle, cousins, all this stuff. Lots of military in the family. And then my wife also. On her side of the family, Vietnam veterans. Her two brothers served in Vietnam. Her sister's husband served in Vietnam. Her sister served in the Army. Married a Vietnam veteran. They had a son. He was in the Army. He's now a cop up in Washington State. So a lot of service. I would say that's kind of that's the family history that kind of laid the groundwork for me getting so involved. But then there's a series of things that happened over the years that just got me more tuned up and more invested and more active with all of it.
Yeah, because I don't know if it's an exaggeration to say, but your work specifically, I think you're probably the biggest veteran advocate as far as dollars raised in the country's history. I can't think of anybody bigger. What is it now, 400 million?
We're over $650 million.
Oh my God!
Right now in the 15-year history of the foundation. We're in our 15th year right now. God. So it started with one donor, and then we started branching. Just as the foundation got more busier and more well known, people started hearing about it. The donor base grew. And we have a tremendous philanthropy team. We're, operating many different spaces now, and so we're able to raise a good amount of money. But that's a fair amount there.
Yeah, I would say
over the last several years.
Amazing.
It's incredible.
Yeah, that's insane.
That's
really
That's a number right there, guys. We need to step it up.
Yeah, we do.
You said that was your grandfather?
So
in the
this is my
B-17?
grandfather right here. Yeah, and he was in the Army in World War I. He drove an ambulance in France. So he, in fact, I have you can see across there, there's an album cover on the wall over there. That's a picture of my grandfather on a horse training in Yuma, Arizona, to go off to World War I. And he was in the Army. He ended up driving an ambulance in France during the Battle of the Meuse-Argonne. And that battle, we lost over 26,000 in that one single battle.
History.
And he was back and forth from the front line to the rear, just taking the wounded back. And there's one story from my grandfather where he was in a convoy of ambulances. They all had that red cross painted on the side. I don't know why they did that, but
It's supposed to mean
the
you
German
can't shoot at us.
the Germans did that. They started targeting the ambulances, and the one in front of them got blown up, and the one behind him got blown up, and he was spared. He just kept driving. So he got very lucky during that. I didn't talk to my grandfather too much when I was a kid. He died when I was in my early 20s. And of course, when I got more active with military support and veteran support and all of that, I started looking back at those days and just wished that I'd been, not such a dopey kid, that I actually paid attention to what my grandfather had done. Thankfully, my uncle, this one, Uncle Jerry, he was on a ship in the Pacific during World War II. He became a writer after he got home from the war. And so he was able to get my grandfather to talk a little bit. And he wrote down some of the things he said. And that's where I know about the story about the ambulances from my uncle, just interviewing my grandfather and trying to get him to talk.
There's a shocking amount of notable people were ambulance drivers in World War I as well.
I was thinking that too.
It's
Hemingway?
like Hemingway, Ray Kroc, Walt Disney.
Disney.
There's a lot of notable folks.
I didn't even know that.
Was it Elvis too? That
I
was
don't
World
know.
War II. It might have been World War II. Yeah.
I don't know.
Elvis drove an ambulance
He had.
in World War II?
I swear that's what it was.
He did something.
I thought it was. I know it was something with an
I
ambulance.
think you might be right.
No, I think he was Elvis was after World War II.
I swore he was during, or is it, when did he join?
Well, let's check.
Yeah.
Oh, that beautiful
Let's
little box in
pull
our
it
pocket.
up on the phone.
The nightmare brick in our pocket might have the answer.
For sure.
Was it, I mean, a lot of that old generation, they really didn't talk about their service, especially if they were in World War I, World War II. Your uncle getting as much information, did he only grab a couple pieces or a couple stories from your grandpa or great-grandpa at that time?
Yeah, just, very, very limited, because my grandfather just didn't want to talk about it too much, But he did share a couple little stories like that with my uncle. And my uncle, again, he wrote books, and he wrote articles and whatnot, and he was able to document my grandpa and what he had done. And so when I wrote a book that came out in 2019, and I talk about my family history, and I pull some of my uncle's stories about my grandfather and just stuck them in the book, because that's what I know. But I wish, I'd been aware as a kid to just talk to my, even my Uncle Jerry. I never really talked to him much about his service. He was on a ship in the Pacific during the battles of Iwo Jima and Okinawa. And then he was part of the occupying force in Japan after the surrender. But he lived in Texas, and I just never engaged with him very much.
Do you know what ship he was on? Because it looks like a battleship.
That's just a superimposed picture. We just grabbed a ship and put him in front of it. But he was on a landing ship tank. So those were the ships that would roll in, and the ramp would drop down, and a tank would roll out.
LST.
And LST. And so he was on two, 811 and 870. I have those documented. And, I got to hear some pretty good stories from him about what he had done, because he wrote about his service a bit. The family history is important. It sets up, a lot. And, I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I wasn't paying attention to any of it. It all happened later, when I started getting more involved with supporting Vietnam veterans, and then I played the Vietnam veteran in Forrest Gump, and he was a wounded veteran, of course.
You were in Forrest Gump?
I was the guy with no legs. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that guy.
That guy.
that guy.
Okay.
What's Forrest Gump?
The guy with yeah. It was before your time, I think. Probably.
We were all joking before the podcast. We're like, wouldn't it be funny if we all pretended like none of us knew what Forrest Gump was?
We just thought we didn't even know you're an actor. You're just really into the veteran community. We're like, we just heard really good stuff about you with veterans.
Oh, you act like
They
local
said
theater?
we should come over with cameras.
We heard the Gary Sinise Foundation raised $600 million for veterans, and thought he was a cool guy. Dang.
I had to.
You act?
Don't make me take you through it.
I had to throw this out there. Everybody knows you from, Forrest Gump and things like that. I knew you first from Disney World Mission Space, the command center thing.
Yes.
Wait, what?
It's kind of a wild throwback,
The
I'm
ride.
sure. Yes, sir.
The ride that goes to Mars.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
I didn't even get that it was a reference to your other Mars movie, but I just
Apollo
immediately, as a kid, I was just like, "Oh, wait, hold on, that's the Mission Space guy."
So when did you go? When did you go on that ride? How old were you?
Oh man, I was a kid. I have no idea.
So yeah, I did a movie for Disney, Mission to Mars, about going to Mars. And when they were building the ride, we had a great technical advisor on Mission to Mars. This is an astronaut who'd been up 6 times on the space shuttle. Story Musgrave, brilliant guy. They hired Story to be kind of the technical advisor when they were building the ride to go to Mars. And I got to do the movie, and then they asked me to be the Capcom on the ride. So what he's talking about, you come into the ride, and there's somebody on the screen, and they say, "Hi, welcome to Mission Space, and here's what you're going to do, and watch out, don't vomit," all that stuff.
Advice some people don't take.
Yeah, right. But it was a good ride, though.
Brandon, could you tell me what superpower does?
Not draws. Let me step in for Brandon, Eli. SUPERPOWER sends a medically licensed professional to your home to conduct a lab test. You can choose to either do it at your home or visit a nearby lab to get the test done. It's one simple lab draw.
Are you here for my 100 biomarkers?
I am here for more than just your 100 biomarkers.
They're pulling out your biomarker.
Yeah, this is how you learn if you're f***ed up or not. All jokes aside, tests like this are one of the reasons why I found out I have lead poisoning, which is a very serious issue that I wish I'd paid more attention to. I thought I had cancer, and then found out I don't. That was a heavy weight off my shoulders. And off of your ass.
It actually presents all your information on an app that you can just check everything. Literally everything.
So you get to learn basically what you're deficient in, what you do not have in your daily diet or whatever, and then they give you recommendations on how to fix that.
And a lot of the times it is genetic, so different people will have different eating habits or what helps their body perform better. And SUPERPOWER helps break that down. So it'll tell you, hey, you need more iron, creatine.
To give a real concrete example, like I found out through tests like this, I'm actually deficient in ferritin, which actually helps your body process iron. SUPERPOWER gives you access to high-end concierge-level care for only $199. But with Unsub's discount, you're getting it for $179.
Know your numbers this year with SUPERPOWER.
SUPERPOWER!
Make this the year you stop guessing about your health with SUPERPOWER. Head to www.superpower.com/unsub and use code unsub at checkout to get yourself $20 off.
After you sign up, they're going to ask how you heard about SUPERPOWER.
Tell them it was us.
On the way here in Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan invests their money in a quote unquote fruit company, Apple.
Yeah, right.
And it got me thinking, how good of advice would that have been if you just invested in Apple when the movie Forrest Gump came out?
Oh,
I did the math. If you would have put $1,000 in Apple after watching Forrest Gump in the movie theater, it'd be worth $1.1 million right now. Should have taken your advice when I was 5.
Yeah, I was like 11.
I wonder how many people did that.
I call my dad after
You might have
this.
changed some lives with your advice.
and only 80% of that is inflation.
Well, you know.
During Forrest Gump, you actually did like boot camp, or they had you do different kind of training for the military, right?
Yeah. yeah, we went and lived in the woods and did all that. Did some training. I think we were out there for three or four nights, and slept out there. Did all the boot camp stuff. War games. Lived with the snakes, all that kind of stuff. And it was great because right after we finished that, we went right into the Vietnam sequences. So I had shot already some of the shrimp boat stuff we had done, I think in the beginning of when I started shooting. And that was with like a long hair wig, because we had to go back and forth between like long hair scenes and short hair scenes. So I had a long hair wig for, and scruffy stuff on my face. Then I went and took the wig off, shaved, and then we went into the woods and lived in the woods. And then we went and started shooting the Vietnam stuff after that. So it was the timing was good because by the time we marched in to start shooting all the Vietnam stuff, we were ready to go.
And you did this with even Apollo 13. What was the hardest training you did, like preparing for a role?
Preparing for any role?
Yeah, because Apollo 13. Okay, you did space camp for X amount of days, correct?
I did, yeah.
Yeah. So what was the hard one where you're like, okay, this actually sucked way more than I thought it would?
Well, I mean, it wasn't fun to I remember when we were training for Forrest Gump, I went down into an anthill. It's like they had some mortars set up. We were marching across this field, and they had planted like mortars out there. So, special effects stuff. So they set these mortars off, and we all hit the deck, right? And I went right into an anthill and just like, ants everywhere, snakes. So that wasn't fun. I didn't like any of that. That was I would have rather been back in my hotel room at that point.
What area was that in?
South Carolina.
Oh, okay.
Beaufort.
Beaufort? Old
Yep.
Beaufort. I'm familiar with that. I was a police officer in South Carolina.
Okay, I really liked it there. Actually, I loved it down there. I loved being there. I loved shooting there. Years later, they started something where we were supporting our wounded, and a lot of our wounded would come down for the weekend, and they had this thing called Lieutenant Dan Weekend, and my band would come and play, and they'd have dozens of wounded service members would come down. We raised money. We were supporting something called the Independence Fund.
Yep.
And so
raised money for that too.
Yeah, I supported them for a long time, and they wanted to do Lieutenant Dan Weekend, so I came down, and it was great to be able to visit that. I went back year after year, and I loved the area.
Charleston?
Yep.
Yeah.
Then we moved the event from Beaufort. We used to do it right in the town square, right on the water. And my band would play right there, and it got so big they had to move it up to Charleston.
Yeah, I saw you jamming out in Charleston. So I love that area, man.
Yeah, you're about to get married there.
I'm getting married there in 35 days. Yeah.
Congratulations. That's good.
Love you.
Congratulations. Yes.
And we haven't got to say this on camera. Brandon, congratulations. He just won a Congress seat.
Oh,
Well,
yeah. Well,
primary for it.
yeah, primary.
Yeah,
Yeah.
primary.
Yeah, I forgot. We haven't done a podcast since, but yeah, I beat out Tony Gonzalez in District 23.
Where's that?
So it's basically all of West Texas. It's the western side of San Antonio all the way out to El Paso.
Well, congratulations.
Appreciate it, brother. Thank you.
I'm sitting with a politician.
I know it sucks, right? Yeah.
Feels
Oh,
dirty.
gosh, I didn't know.
Run, you fool.
Yeah. I'll take statesman. I don't think I'll ever be a politician, or at least I
Okay,
hope not.
that's good. That's good.
I hope not.
Yeah, well, congratulations.
Congrats on that. Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, we got the news after the fact because that was weird timing.
That was very, very odd.
His opponent dropped. Well, you explain it.
Well, yeah. So March 3rd was the primary, and this was a rematch. I had run against him last time. We had lost in a runoff, 407 votes. And so this time I was hoping he would get better. He didn't. Actually, things got a lot worse. And he, so I ran again this cycle. We were already looking pretty good in the polls, and then it dropped. He was in a very, very serious scandal where he pressured a subordinate into a sexual relationship. Can't do that.
That's not good.
And then afterward, basically broke up her home to the point where she committed via self-immolation. So,
Oh my God.
it was a wild story. The entire thing was wild. And then he lied to cover it up. He lied the entire time, lied to media, lied to the voters. And then, so we shellacked him on Tuesday, but neither one of us got above 50%, which means in the state of Texas, you have to go to then a runoff election. So there were 4 people in the race. We were both in the 40s. We beat him, but not by enough to take it outright. And then 2 days later, so I'm expecting to go into a 3-month runoff election, like another election, which I was pretty confident we were going to win. 2 days later, he announced he was dropping out.
He went on somebody else's podcast, and after he had been for 6 months at this point saying that these were all rumors and they weren't true, and it
Calling
was
me
just
a
a
liar.
political hit job, he went on a podcast and said, well, actually it is true, but it's not my fault. And then after that, the Speaker of the House basically told him he needs to step down, so he dropped out of his re-election bid. So Brandon kind of took that by default, being most votes.
Yeah, I was sitting at my my house bar playing blackjack with Connor. We're just like screwing around, like just trying to like decompress a little bit. Like, okay, we got a big fight to win. It's like 11 o'clock at night, and then I just get my phone. It's just over in the corner on the side of my bar. Just like, oh shit, what? Oh.
Oh,
Wow.
Oh,
Stress.
I think I'm the nominee now.
Big news. Yeah.
So it's been a wild journey, but
He got 50%. Even with that going on.
he got like 41%, I think. So
But
because
that was all being exposed.
It was aired out, man.
that had the confirmation that it was true didn't hit the news until early voting had already started.
Okay.
So then it was kind of like the voting was already happening when it was getting pushed out. So it was a matter of like how many voters could actually see, how many voters had already voted, and B, how many voters weren't going to see or realize that's who it was
Right.
until that point in time. Because
Got it.
on the ballot, he's still seen as the Republican incumbent. So everybody, if you're not super into politics, you kind of just vote for the incumbent because that's
Yeah.
what everybody does. They have the highest chance of winning. So I think that's where a lot of the votes came from.
Yeah, we had people that came to us, like our like sign waving teams and whatnot. People came up later saying, I cast my vote on the first day of early voting. I didn't know. Is there anything I can do to help? Which, that's pretty indicative that, it's a major shift. Because he really did. He said that I was lying. He tried to defame my character, saying that, oh, no, he's just smearing me politically. I'm like, no, I'm doing the same thing I've been doing since day one, which is tell the truth about you.
Yeah, little background on this guy here. I got to give him praise. Firearms manufacturer, started a YouTube channel, pretty big. And we moved to San Antonio. His family's from Texas originally. And one day he just said, hey, I don't like this guy. I don't like my congressman. He started running, and now you got it, buddy.
We'll see. And all self-funded and with the help of, the audience and everything like that. No special interests, no big DC money. Just gave it the best race we could, and it was enough to take down a sitting congressman.
Well, sounds like he needed to be taken down.
I think it's pretty fair to say at this point.
Yeah.
There was an argument before. I don't know if there is one now.
Right.
And it finally was so clear there was no ducking around it. He couldn't get away with it.
Yeah. He basically had to come out and admit it.
Yeah. Now our friend's a politician.
Ew.
I know.
I still hate that word
I'm
still
gonna
sounds
move
like a
over
slur.
little bit from you.
It's because it is.
Connor, how do you shave your chest?
How do I shave my chest? He doesn't have certain genes like me and Eli do.
Yes, I am a Caucasoid.
Oh, well, okay, he doesn't have certain genes like I do.
Oh, it actually, this smells really good.
It looks smooth.
Feels smooth.
Simba.
It does say, we highly encourage the hosts to get creative.
Oh, that is a mistake.
I'd shave me. Would you shave me?
Why does he have forehead hair?
You got to keep it under control, which is why I trust people like Harry's. Actually, that is remarkably smooth.
I use those. They're cheaper than a majority of razors, and they're really good.
I didn't lube myself up like other folks.
So Harry owns its own world-class blade factory in Germany. Harry's has launched their most advanced razor ever. Why is he putting deodorant on his neck?
Harry's Plus is Harry's heaviest razor handle ever.
How heavy is it?
Made of entirely metal, no plastic.
How's it feel?
Refreshing.
Harry's doesn't make just razors.
They've got a full line of grooming essentials. All of Harry's blades and grooming equipment can be delivered directly to your door.
For a limited time, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/unsub.
This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor.
One refined 5-blade cartridge.
And a 2-ounce can of foaming shave gel.
And a travel cover to protect your razor on the go.
Just head to harrys.com/unsub to claim this offer.
And after you purchase, they're gonna ask you, how'd you hear about us?
Tell them unsub or I'll shave you.
Well, that'll be an interesting life change, I'm sure, if you get in there.
Yeah, it's going to be a negative one for me. I'm sure you've had to deal with a lot of politicians in your life.
A fair amount, you know.
A couple. I've seen the pictures, Gary. I know you did.
Do we have some over there?
photo of W.
I was about to say W's over there hanging out with you.
Yeah, I wonder where that
right there.
was. Yeah. Yeah, no, I've met a few.
I'm going to go ahead and guess every one since the movie Forrest Gump came out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that changed a lot. Yeah. I mean, I hadn't done that many movies before that, so I wasn't well known. I'd done a lot of theater, but Forrest Gump was maybe, I don't know, a third movie or
Which is
third or fourth movie, something like that.
I mean,
wild.
Third
yeah,
movie?
third or fourth. I did like 90. My first real good part in a movie. I did 3 movies in 91, and then 92. Of Mice and Men came out. I did that as a film, and the producers for Forrest Gump saw that, and they invited me to come and audition.
And that was with John Malkovich, right?
Yeah. And then I auditioned for it, and I got a couple of good parts that year. And when you're in a movie like that that's so popular, and you're not that well known, and you play a good part, things are going to change for you. So I got some good parts after that.
did you have any idea, like, during the filming that it was going to be as big as it ended up being?
No. So I'm working with Tom Hanks. He was a big movie star, so that was a good thing. Bob Zemeckis was top director, really, a lot of success. The script was good, so you got 3 things going for you there that give you an indication, like, oh, you're involved in something that could be pretty cool. But the nature of if you remember that, the nature of the way that story was told is you've got Forrest Gump interacting with all these different characters, right? Like there's the Jenny story, and there's the Bubba story, and there's the Lieutenant Dan story and the Mama story. And we didn't really interact with each other, all those other characters. It wasn't like we were all in the same scene. So I didn't really know what Robin Wright was doing as Jenny. I knew a couple things about Michael T. Williamson because I was in some scenes with him. But Sally Field, I didn't really know what was going on. Tom was doing all these scenes with everybody else. I didn't know what they were doing. So I didn't know what the movie was going to turn out like until I saw it.
Did you have a script that showed, or was it just primarily your?
Yeah, no, you have the whole script.
Okay.
That was my question, because I've heard, like, some, obviously every movie's different, but I've heard some people that are like, I don't know what the script even is. I just show up and do what the director says, which would have been very funny from your perspective at the time, because you're showing up. All right, today you don't have any legs, and then like tomorrow you're gonna have no legs. You're gonna be clean shaven. Today you've got long hair and a beard. Like,
All right, guess I'm putting on the green socks.
We're wheeling
Real
around.
like shrimp.
No, I read the whole script. I like to know what the story is.
that's good.
You know, and but the nature of the Lieutenant Dan story is just these little moments. You know, he's in Vietnam, and then he's in the hospital in Vietnam, and then he's gone. You see him in New York, and then you see him on the shrimp boat, and then it's just these little segments. So the story just, what I like about that story is the way it ends up for our veterans, right? I have a lot of Vietnam veterans in my family. I, remember what that was like. I've met so many wounded folks over the years, and we want that story to be the story of success that our wounded have, right? They're able to move on from life. It's a happy ending, and we haven't really seen the story of a Vietnam veteran have a happy ending in a movie up until that point. But that is a happy ending, and we want that happy ending for everybody who serves our country.
I think so. You talked about one of your interviews. You were discussing how important community is for the veterans when they get out, and a lot of them just didn't have that. Vietnam veterans, wild, because that is, you're coming back, you are hated, which none of us have seen or experienced that.
We were still drinking on the community thing.
Yeah, yeah. But as you said, I think it was family or friends that they had more success if they were still with that community, the veteran community, or they stayed active duty during that transition period versus the people that got out and just went into the civilian world. They were lost a lot of the times.
Well, my wife's two brothers are two different stories like that. One stayed in the Army, career Army guy, Silver Star recipient in Vietnam, 2 tours in Vietnam, very West Pointer, high-profile guy. Unfortunately, he got cancer in '83 and died of cancer. But he was very, very profound impact on the Army kind of person. He rewrote the entire leadership manual for the Army. He was very invested in the Army, going to have a career. If he had lived, he would have been a 4-star. There's no question about it. He would have been in the Iraq War and in Afghanistan conflicts, all of that. He was that career Army guy. Then the second brother, the younger of the 2 brothers, was a helicopter pilot who went in. He was like the second son, The first son was, the father really looked to him as, he was very proud of him going to West Point and all that. The second son wanted to kind of, I think, be a part of that. And so he joined the Army, helicopter pilot, 800 combat hours, but it was rough on him. Yeah. It was rough on him, and he came back and got out of the Army, and he struggled. Still struggles. He survived. He's still alive, but still struggles. I mean, he kind of withdrew from life in a way, kind of recluse a bit. And I think, and for my other brother-in-law who served in combat as a combat medic, he stayed in the Army too after Vietnam. And I think it was just easier for folks to come back from Vietnam and still be amongst their fellow Vietnam veterans who were still serving in the Army. They had this community of support. They'd all been through it. They were still serving their country. It was a bit different for them, I think, than somebody who came home, got out of the service, and tried to just disappear and forget about it.
I also wonder, I don't know what the answer to this is, but I'm just kind of like, I don't know, pontificating. If it was a little bit easier for guys after World War II was over. Because that was something that if you were a red-blooded male, you went and you served Like that was kind of a universal experience for everyone. Whereas GWOT, that's not the case. Yeah, stuff like that. Like it was something that if there was another guy that was your age out in public, odds are we served together, we did the same thing. And that's just not the case anymore. And I wonder if that makes it harder on veterans nowadays.
Like even in the TV show The Pacific, it like the ending of that show touches on it, because like even the Pacific War veterans were treated a lot different than the European war veterans for World War II, just because like the general consensus back home when World War II, like a lot of people on the civilian side, and especially like Europeans too, when Hitler surrendered, that was the end of World War II in a lot of people's minds. Like the Pacific Theater was like a side quest to a lot of people. So like, and I'll get it in my comment sections on like the history videos I do. Like I've had Europeans comment like, this guy thinks World War II ended when Japan surrendered. What's he talking about? And it's like,
because it did.
Because it did. But to them, it was just a European theater. And the end of the Pacific shows that, where the Pacific War veterans are coming home, 6-8 months, a year later after the occupation of Japan, and they're looking for a job, and they're like, I just got back from the service. And they're like, what do you, the war ended a year ago. What are you talking about? Why are you just now looking for a job? And he's like, no, I was in the Pacific. And like the civilians are genuinely confused because they thought the war had been over for like way longer.
They weren't thinking about that we occupied Japan for as long as we did.
Exactly. And the other crazy part to me, it's like doing war history and hearing even people like you talking about your families, where it's like America's really, really young. Because like I wouldn't have thought that your grandfather would have been old enough to have fought in World War I. It makes sense if I look at the timeline, but like it seems so long ago to me versus, and then his grandfather easily could have fought in the Civil War. So it's like you're like we're eight.
Well,
people
no, he's an Italian. So my great grandfather, and there's a picture of him over there. He came over from Italy in the late 1800s, and my grandfather was one of 9 kids. 5 were born in Italy, and then his father moved to Chicago from Italy, and 4 more children were born. So maybe the Civil War in Italy.
It's funny. It's funny though to see those timelines, those things that you wouldn't think would work out. Like, because we have videos, like actual videos of Civil War veterans, like speaking and like talking to each other and things like that. It's also like, it's one of those where you just segment these things in your mind. But you don't actually think about, okay, where this went. Like, for example, I know the meme that gets shared around is Rosa Parks lived to see the movie Shrek.
Yeah.
It's like things that in your mind don't make sense. But
Well,
it's like,
like-
oh, well, hell, I guess that's true.
Even like what he just said about how, if he had stayed in, he would have been a 4-star general. He would have been in Iraq as a Vietnam veteran. Like, it doesn't sound that, but then like I read up on war heroes and it's like, oh, this guy got his Medal of Honor in Vietnam, but he also jumped into Normandy. Like, that seems crazy to me that you fought in World War II, Korea, and Vietnam. The timeline makes sense.
My
They're
great-grandfather
close,
did that.
But it's just weird to me. Or like, it's been clipped to oblivion on the internet, but we were talking about the, God, what is his name? General Clint. He was the 9-year-old drummer boy in the Civil War. Yep. He was a 9-year-old drummer boy in the Civil War was when he started his service, and he served his entire life, and he ended up being a general in World War I. Like, it's just crazy. Somebody can see that many different stages of war, especially that going from
That's a big jump.
Muskets to machine guns and tanks in your lifetime. And planes.
Yeah.
in a different country.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy. I like my grandfather was a combat dozer or combat engineer.
Yep.
In the Pacific in World War II, then fought in Korea, and then did some like spooky advisory stuff in Vietnam. And so the way that it was described to me, anyway, was that in Vietnam, his role was, we'll go up in a plane. He was a pilot. We'd go up in a plane. We'd take pictures of things with the locals. And then the next day when we went up in that plane again, the things we took pictures of weren't there anymore.
Then we had to take the topographer up to update maps.
It was kind of one of those, I heard that there was like a family gathering. It's like, oh yeah, I was in Vietnam from this time to this time. Grandpa, we weren't in Vietnam then. He's like,
I was.
yeah.
Hey, do you know what's better than anything, brother? Homemade cooking.
Oh, God, Eli, are we doing this bit again?
Yes, we are.
I'm not doing the Macho Man bit.
I've got HelloFresh for 3 minutes. HelloFresh rises to the top.
Ooh, yeah.
Hey, you want to make life easier? This is how you do it. HelloFresh, because it comes in and all you have to do is cook it. To make anything, you don't have to prep anything. They do that for you.
You get all the ingredients. You just put them together at home. Makes you look like a master chef. Invite somebody over to your house and be like, hey, I made this for you. Just me. I made this just for you.
Choose over 100 different recipes each week, including cuisines from around the world.
I'm not doing the Macho Man voice.
We know.
They even got the Asian meals, you know. They make tacos, also. Kind of doing Mexican accent.
Porciones más grande para satisfacer todos.
Choose from more than 35 high-protein recipes each week, including Mediterranean and friendly GLP-1 options.
GLP-1 friendly.
GLP-1 friendly options.
Eli, what's a GLP-1? Feel great with wholesome ingredients like sustainably sourced seafood and 100% hormone and antibiotic-free chicken. Make meals with seasonal products like pears, apples, and Asperger's. Asparagus.
Head over to HelloFresh.com/unsub10FM and get 10 free meals
Plus a free Zwilling knife.
on your third box.
Offer valid while supplies last. Free meals apply. This discount on first box. New subscribers only. Varies by plan.
It sucks that we don't have those interviews of those World War I veterans, because those are the stories. It's all those stories that are lost throughout history because we don't have.
We do have some.
How many one-on-ones with World War I veterans? Are there that many?
I'm sure there has to be.
There's a few.
It gets a lot harder after World War II to find personal accounts. I mean, as far as like actual like writing books and recording war experiences, it gets a lot tougher once you get past like Audie Murphy. Like Audie Murphy's book To Hell and Back was like one of the first big books where a war hero actually wrote down their perspective and their story.
Yeah, there weren't Navy SEALs back then, so there's not a lot of books.
Damn it. Well, I mean, that's one of the reasons why I like not to, break my wrist or anything, but like it was why I like what we do on Unsub with bringing on so many World War II vets, because I remember, in my lifetime growing up, the moment I saw the headline that the world's last World War I veteran died. And thinking like, wow, okay, those are stories that can never be told now. And so giving them the platform, the opportunity to be able to tell those stories is super important.
Yeah, be like, did you tell Gary who we had on? We had Papa Jake.
Don Graves.
Don Graves, Al.
Al.
We've had 3 World War II veterans, and one was at the raising of the flag at Iwo Jima. Like, he was there during that. And then Grandpa
both of
Jake
them.
was Battle Bulge.
for both of them.
And Normandy.
Hearing his version of the story is hilarious because it's like, yeah, we raised the first one up on some drainage pipe we found, but then they said the flag wasn't big enough, so they had to go grab one off of one of the battleships and bring it over. We had to do it again for the picture.
Gary, I'll tell you, Papa Jake, he was trying to steal our girls the entire time. He was rizzing up the ladies the whole time.
He was not interested in any of the guys.
Look at the smile on your fiance's face right now. What do you mean trying?
He's at that old man face.
Homie
He's
was
like,
succeeding.
Don Graves is pretty frisky too.
So you had to have known Don. Which I don't think
he's pretty wild. I mean, he's got more energy than, jeez. We've had Don on some trips and that kind of thing. Yeah.
Don is awesome.
Pretty special
Don's
guy.
cool.
Any excuse that man has to sing,
Yeah.
he'll do it
Don-
immediately.
He loves that. Yeah.
God, I remember because I think I was one of the first people to sit down at the table with Don, and like Eli was getting the cameras ready, you guys were like getting the drinks ready or whatever, and I was just sitting there with him, and he just starts rattling off like pure gold, and I'm like, Eli, turn the cameras on right now. Like,
We're gonna have to bleep half of this.
This is amazing. No, it wasn't even that. It's just like the dude just sits down and just starts dropping like incredible stories just off the top of his head, and it's like, God, everything he says is so cool.
Which I don't know if we've gotten a chance to say it on the podcast yet, but rest in peace, Papa Jake.
Yeah.
Papa Jake passed.
Yeah, we lost him a couple months ago.
We helped with the statue of Papa Jake, though.
Did we?
So they'll have an Unsub thing under it. stoned because we threw some money towards it for that
awesome.
to get erected.
That's awesome.
We had him, and then Major Capers actually just got his. I think he got approved for the Medal of Honor, right?
Did he get approved? I haven't heard that.
I think that.
I hope
just
so.
popped.
I hope so.
The man
That
deserves
would be
it.
awesome.
Let's look it up. Do you know who Major Capers is?
He was not Marine Raider. He was
Forrest Recon.
Force Recon Marine during Vietnam, and led a team. And basically, he had been recommended for the Medal of Honor, but he was I believe he was the first black officer in American history to receive a field promotion, like in theater. And he has this incredible story, this humongous military career, and he basically kind of got shafted for the Medal of Honor. And there's been a humongous push to get that retroactively fixed. And
Got approved.
he got approved.
Very nice.
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Congressman Norman Bills is to award Major James Caper with the Medal of Honor.
I'm excited for it. He deserves it. He really does. There's there's also a thing about him being like one of the first. I don't know what the qualification's called, but black combat divers.
Yep. Yeah, because his story on that when he was going to dive school was crazy because he showed up to dive school and the person, I don't know if it was a literal doctor, but the medical person in charge of the program didn't even want to let him go through the course because according to what Major James Capers was told was he has medical evidence that black people can't swim. Is what they told him. And he's like, no, I can swim. And he ended up like passing the course and performed, I think he said 3 combat dives.
Yeah.
And yeah, just a crazy military career.
Is that what they told you in Buds?
Yeah. Look, they just sink, dude. I don't know what to tell you.
Nothing.
The fastest swimmers we had in Buds were the black dudes.
One of my favorite moments, we've done hundreds of these podcasts. One of my favorite moments is I had read his book prior to him coming on, and he has a story about when they were in Vietnam on a mission.
I know where
coming
this
back,
is going. Yep.
And on their way back up to their fob, which is on top of this big hill / mountain, they had to cross a river, and they found a 26-foot long python that weighed like 300 pounds, and they couldn't carry it across this river, but they told everybody up on the fob that they found this gigantic snake. And they're like, no, you didn't. That's not true, whatever. So one of the helicopter pilots flew him back down and they captured the snake and kept it as a pet. And they named it Gomer. And they ran into town and they were feeding it ducks. Well, he tells this whole story and it's hilarious. And then we have his book on the table and we flip through it. And in the pictures, there's a picture of him and his guys, like 6 dudes to hold up this snake. It's humongous. And there's 2 pictures like that. And one picture says Gomer #1 and the other picture says Gomer #2. And I was like, how many snakes did you catch? He's like, oh yeah, we caught another one in Panama too. So he's just catching these gigantic pythons while he's out on missions for fun.
This is in operations, like
That's awesome.
pulling back from a mission and be like, "Whoa, spin up the helicopter,
Grab that 300-pound snake. This is gonna be cool."
and they put a bag over
It's
its
the
head.
most dude thing I've ever heard of.
That guy's got to have something to do. They didn't have Xboxes on the fob yet.
Oh man, what? You've been in many movies, but as you said, Forrest Gump was number 3 or 4,
Yeah. Early on. Yeah.
and then it was just big movie after big movie because you've done 3 with Tom Hanks, or
Apollo 13 was one I did right after.
never heard of it.
And I did the Green Mile with him.
It was American propaganda to make it look like we went to the moon.
Oh, thank you.
Fake stuff, yeah.
They used the same studio, actually.
Were you? Because you say you didn't know how big your, Forrest Gump would be, especially your role with Lieutenant Dan. Were you at all concerned, like after it did blow up and got as big as it did, that you were going to kind of be typecasted into that military type role? Because I mean, I don't think you were. You went, and every role's significantly different. You're not just like the army guy in every movie. Were you concerned?
No,
with that at all,
I
or?
wasn't worried about that.
Okay.
No. I ended up, you might get offered some things, but I just was looking for the best projects that were coming my way at the time, and ended up played Harry Truman in a movie for HBO. That was that was an interesting project because, it's a historical figure, footage of him, lots of documentation, a lot of books. So the trick there is you're creating an impression of somebody who really lived, right? So you've got to do a believable enough impression that people kind of go with it and forget it's you. So that was a good acting challenge. That right after I started shooting that, right after the Oscars for Forrest Gump, I left like the next day and went and started shooting Harry Truman. So some really good projects started coming my way at the time. The 90s were very, very good. Good time.
I'm curious, what got you into acting? Like what made you want to get it? Because you said you did theater first. What made you want to do all that?
Well, I was a bad student in high school. I'm among friends. I can see that. I'm among friends here now. Yeah, bad student in high school, failing a lot of classes, not doing well, playing in a rock band, getting into trouble, all that kind of stuff. And I just stumbled into auditioning for a play for the hell of it. I saw all the pretty girls walking in, and I followed them in, and I thought, okay, give me the script, I'll try it, and I auditioned for West Side Story, the
No kidding.
musical, and I got in it. I got a little tiny part in it. And, here I was probably getting ready to get kicked out of school at the time, and that whole theater community and the fun that I had doing that show and everything just changed everything for me. It really was a turning point. And the teacher that I had was unlike any teacher I'd ever had before. She just was different, and she saw something in me that she kind of encouraged. And I was, and then after that play, I just wanted to be in all these shows, and I ended up doing really well in theater. Ended up starting a theater company when I got out of high school, called Steppenwolf, and that theater company is now over 50 years old. We were little kids. We ended up building a building that takes an entire city block. So it really is a great American dream story where you start with absolutely nothing, just kids wanting to do some plays, and it turns into something special. These caricatures up here on the wall are from different Steppenwolf plays that we moved to New York and did on Broadway or off Broadway. And we started moving our shows to New York. That gave us a lot of international recognition. And because of the international recognition, we were able to raise the amount of money that we needed to raise to build a building. And we ended up building a building.
That's awesome. Are you still very heavily involved in that?
No. I support, but September 11th changed everything for me. I was in New York that year doing one of our shows, and it was a Broadway show, big hit, all of that. It closed about 6 weeks before the attack of 9/11, and I was profoundly impacted by that whole incident, and everything changed for me. I just decided that's when I got super heavily involved in all this, and I didn't go back and do plays after that. That was the last play I did because I turned towards service and volunteerism and raising money for our veterans and entertaining them and building houses for wounded, all these different things that we do. That became the mission. I ended up getting a TV series after that, which was lucrative and very, very good at the time. To have a television series right at the time that I was getting so involved in all of this was a great benefit, not only financially, but when you have a public platform like that, you're on television every week, and it's a hit show and it's doing well. I had I had a megaphone. I could get up and talk about what I was doing on USO tours and visiting the hospitals and talking about all that. And it gave me a good reputation in the community. And I got so busy with all of that, I haven't been back to do theater since.
Connor, what are you doing?
I'm fuming, brother.
You fuming okay?
You ain't never seen nobody cheap a fume like this boy can.
Fume responsibly.
Look at Connor.
I'm cured.
From what?
My oral fixation. I would have something else in my mouth right now, but thanks to fume, it's not made of human flesh.
Can I have that, please?
You want to hit my fume, bro?
I do want to hit
Dude,
your
let me
fume.
pass it.
It's also got a fidget movement on it. For those who are tactilically challenged.
Made that shit up.
Tactilically is a rare, often non-standard adverb of the form tactile, used to describe interacting with or understanding something through the sense of touch, physical feel, or haptic feedback. F*** you.
Pass me my fume, bro. We're fuming it up.
Dude, look at how fucking cool he looks.
He's getting fumed out of his mind.
I'm on a fume too much, bro. My favorite flavor is orange vanilla because it tastes like somebody near you at a coffee shop ordered an Earl Grey tea.
Crisp mint.
Yeah, one time I was really fiending for something I legally cannot say in this advertisement, but instead I reached for my fume and boy oh. Oh, did that hit the spot?
Use code UNSUB to get a free gift with your journey pack.
Fume has already helped over 700,000 people take steps towards better habits, and now it's your turn. Head to tryfume.com. That's TRYFUM.com.
Use code UNSUB to get a free gift today.
Did Hollywood ever have a problem with your involvement with like how passionate you are about the U.S. military?
A problem in what way? What do you...
It's like there's a lot of like anti-war actors or producers or things like that. Did anyone ever did you ever have a problem with that?
No, not me. But I was actually, I know what you're talking about. Like during the Iraq War, everything. We were kind of a nation that came together after September 11th, right? We wanted to do something about what had happened to us as a nation. But as time went on and we went into Iraq after that and everything like that, things started to splinter again. And Hollywood got very anti-Bush, anti-war, anti-Iraq stuff. I didn't feel that way. And I'll tell you why. Because, as I said, I've got Vietnam veterans in my family. I could sense that, hey, what's happening right now in the country is very similar to what was happening to our Vietnam veterans. The media and folks are turning against the war. The soldiers, the Marines, the people that are serving, they're going to get caught in the middle of all that. And I don't want that to happen. So I just started to go on tours and go overseas and go to the war zones and go to the hospitals and support organizations that were helping our service members. And the more I sensed all that stuff coming, it just motivated me to do a lot more. Did that affect me in the movie and television business? No. I was the lead in a hit show, so what are they going to do about it?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I had a television show.
I know, I love it.
Had a TV show every week. The show was doing well. Like I said, it gave me financial security that was beneficial, and I could start a foundation with that and all that. But I also had that public platform. And so I'd do interviews, and I'd say, people would ask me about what you've been doing, and I'd say, well, I just went to Afghanistan or something, and here's what I saw. Here's the people that are serving our country. This is what they're doing. This is why we should support them. I got to see a lot of things on the inside that the average American doesn't get to see what gets done, right? I mean, they don't see the people that serve in the way that somebody who's maybe related to somebody. You have a personal relationship to somebody who's serving in the military or on the police force or something. So you see it in a different way than the average American who may not have a personal connection. So I felt like I was kind of a little bit of a bridge I could go to the war zones and I could go see what people do and, train with the special forces, see what they actually do, and then come back and talk about it and let people know how fortunate we are that we have such exceptional people serving our country. And so somebody like me is saying that kind of stuff. I mean, some people paid attention. Others probably thought it was, it wasn't what they wanted to hear. But I felt like that's my role. My role is to, I have a role to play here in supporting the folks that are serving out there. And it turned into a full-time thing.
Speaking of which, with your trips to like Iraq and Afghanistan, things like that with the USO, how did that transition work? It's one of those things, you wake up one day, you're like, I think I want to do something, I want to make a difference. How did that conversation go?
Well, I wanted to, after September 11th, like I said, I just felt heartbroken and crushed by that, and I wanted to do something. I wanted to get involved. And so what do you do, I had been involved a little bit with the Disabled American Veterans organization because of Forrest Gump, and I'd been supporting the DAV for a little while. But how do I support our active duty folks that are now deploying to Afghanistan and Iraq, and we're in a war now, and they're getting hurt, and they're getting killed, and families are losing loved ones, and people are really banged up. They need some support. So one of the first things I did was contact the USO and just say, hey, I want to go on a trip. And it's funny, I've told this story before, but I left some messages on their machine. I called the USO and said, I'm Gary Sinise, I want to go on a tour. And then I didn't hear anything back. And then I called them back again. I said, hi, I'm Gary Sinise. I'd really love to go on a USO tour. Go to Iraq or whatever. Didn't hear anything back. Then I started to think.
You dropped the Lieutenant Dan on them, didn't you?
They don't know who Gary Sinise is. So I better call back. I said, I'm the guy who played Lieutenant Dan. I want to go on a tour. And then they called me back. So I wasn't real well known at that point. This is before CSI New York. I'd done Ransom with Mel Gibson. I'd done Apollo 13. I'd done some pretty big movies. I did The Stand, which was a miniseries on ABC. So, but still, I wasn't like a recognizable name actor. So I figured that out. I figured, okay, I gotta tell them who I am. So they called me back, and I started going on tours. And I went on the first one to Iraq. It was the first big USO tour to Iraq in June of 2003. We hadn't sent a tour over there yet. We'd just gone into Iraq in March. Remember the statue coming down? And that was in April. And then in June, I was over in the war zone.
Were you in that green zone? That would have been like Iraq.
Surge, wasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, that's during the surge.
Yeah.
You're pulling down the statues, and there's maybe one green zone at that time. Where did you go?
Yeah,
That entire experience, like,
this is before the insurgency and all that. So this is right just within months of us getting there, right? Pulling the statue down. We were in Baghdad. We were all over the place. And so I went over there on the first big USO tour, and there were 180 of us on this tour. Northwest Airlines gave us an airplane and a 747 taking all of us over there on the plane. Kid Rock was on that tour, Leanne Womack. Basketball players, football players, Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders. I mean, it was a big tour.
Dude, it was crazy. When we pull up to base, because I lived out in sector, so I had to come back and we see posters for, it's like, hey, this person's coming to the base. I'm like, I don't get to be on the base any of those days.
I was just thinking about
Yeah,
the
you're gonna
chronological possibility that you, Kid Rock, and Eli were in country at the same time.
Yeah, were you there in like 2007, 2008?
Yeah, I was in. Yeah, both years.
Yeah, see, probably there, and I was out in sector. Be like,
Oh, you guys served together.
Gosh, yeah, I was there both years. I was in Balad. I
was in Balad too. Yeah,
Taji and all these different places. I was. Both those years, I did 2 in a row.
Balad, beautiful. If you get to live there.
I was at Camp Anaconda.
Yep.
What is the service member equivalent of Eskimo Bros?
Yeah, pretty much. I know this area. How was it like getting off that plane the first time? Because that had to be a change. Yeah, a change for you. You're not prepared for war, and we just got in the country 8 months ago. Hey, here, can you entertain these people? That's wild.
I'm sorry, I can't get you being in character for Lieutenant Dan surrounded by Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders out of my head.
That was entertaining. Yeah.
It's like the New Year's that meme.
That was fun. That was fun. Yeah. Well, how was it getting off the plane? It was hot. Like 150 degrees or whatever.
Oh, the temperature. I thought we were still talking about the cheerleaders. My bad.
No. Well, that was hot too. That was good.
Better than the fire ants.
I am Lieutenant Dan.
We had a great tour though. I mean, it was called Project Salute, that 2003 tour, and then
how was it scary though? Like, was anyone worried going into that? Because that would have been military. You signed up for it. You're going to war. You're going to a country where a war is happening. They prep you for it. But from your side, I want to do a good thing. I'm going to make a difference. Landing in country, getting off in a C-130 or a Black Hawk, and you're like, oh, it's really hot.
Yeah, no, and we landed in Kuwait first, and then we went up to Baghdad. There were so many of us, 180 on that first tour, that we split off into 3 different groups. And I remember one group went into Kuwait, another group went up into Iraq, another group flew out to a carrier in the Gulf out there. We were just splitting off and trying to cover as much territory as possible. And I remember I went up to, we were doing a lot in Kuwait. I went up to Baghdad, did some stuff, came back, and then Tommy Franks, he was running the war. And he said he wanted to go, he was going up to Baghdad the next day, and he wanted a small group to go with him. And so I went back up into Baghdad with Tommy Franks, and Robert De Niro was on the airplane. We're on a C-130 and we're going up. That was an incredible trip, and I wanted to go back once I got home. So we were well protected, and we weren't going to anywhere. We were such a big tour that we weren't like fob hopping or anything like that. The second time I went back that same year in November, just whatever it was, 4 months later. That one was a little bit different. I remember mortars coming in, at one point, and it felt to me like everything was rattling, like the pipes were rattling or something like that. I was sleeping on a cot in this room. There were no lights, no electricity, and I was like, "What's going on here?" And I came out, and there were 2 soldiers just sitting there. Sitting there. The building had been rattling,
I think we're smoking.
And they were just sitting there like this, And I'm like, what's going on? I'm like, and they said, oh, the mortars, mortars coming in.
Just another day.
It's another night.
The James Franco meme. First time?
Yeah. That was kind of like that. They were not, if they weren't going to freak out, and like, okay, everybody's out, we're going into the bunker or whatever. But they weren't. It was a routine, and they could tell how far away they were by the noise, So they knew that we were, at that point, this was kind of a routine thing. bad guys out there throwing the mortars in at this time of night, kind of thing.
I would have.
But that was the first time for that,
I would have looked at my buddy and be like, "We're dead. Gary Sinise is here. This makes zero sense. We're in heaven, and we need to run."
My current job is to guard Lieutenant Dan. What the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah, two guys out there not doing anything.
You hear incoming stumble out of the tent hungover. It's like, Lieutenant Dan? The Dallas Cowboy cheerleaders? Oh, I got hit.
I'm going that way.
Running with the cheerleaders.
Follow the shorts.
Mortar got me.
Hey, you ever just wake up and felt like your mattress sucks and it beat your ass, punched you in the face?
That's crazy. Does the mattress also f your mom?
You ever wake up feeling like you slept in a swamp because of your disgusting, nasty ball sweat?
I see most of you on Reddit, so I know you have.
Time to break up with that mattress.
Get divorced from your mattress. Get a ghost bed.
That hoe.
You're worth more. You're so strong.
Well, guess what? GHOSTBED just launched their new mattress line.
It's designed to keep you cool, supported in all the right areas, if you catch my drift, you giant hog, and help you get sleep.
These beds are built with its patented cooling technology, Brandon.
So you can keep your giant hog cool.
Did you know they're built to last?
That's right, none of that dripping ear nonsense. Every mattress has a 20 or 25-year warranty. That means if I bought one today, it will outlive me before the warranty expires. I don't have much time left.
Especially with as much as you smoke. Way to make it real, Brandon.
Plus 101 night sleep trial.
Don't love it? Send that back!
101 nights, that's 3 months risk-free.
They got the full setup!
Adjustable bases and pillows.
Buttery soft sheets. Buttery.
And even better, you can get 10% off site-wide when you go to ghostbed.com/unsubscribe and use code unsubscribe.
And that's on top of their everyday deals of mattresses, adjustable bases, and pillows already being up to 50% off. Come on, guys, what are we doing? What are we doing? Why aren't you going and using code unsubscribe?
Hey, go use code unsub.
What's happening? What's going on?
That's ghostbed.com/unsubscribe. Use code unsubscribe.
Sleep better. Stay cooler.
This is a threat.
I was actually just going to ask, and forgive my my ignorance on this, but I don't know if any of the USO shows like intentionally got attacked or anything like that.
With me when I was on the.
I mean, with you,
in
with
general.
No, we did. There outside of Balad, there was a big soccer stadium. It was a big soccer stadium. Saddam Hussein and his family used to like torture people in this stadium. But we
wait, what?
Yeah.
They out of all the places they were like as an intentional like media event.
Bad stuff would happen in that stadium, yeah.
They
And we
didn't
saw.
like
I was in
and stuff.
palaces with swimming pools, and there were like empty swimming pools with blood on the side, and
Wow.
there was some ugly stuff that they did. The bath party and all that. They did some ugly stuff. But I remember the soccer stadium, and I was with Wayne Newton, Chris Isaac.
Your tour was way better than my tour.
Yeah,
when I left.
I'm sure it was. Yeah, and I got to leave after a few days.
Eli's like, he didn't even get shot.
Dang, this
Do you know who
sucks.
Neil McCoy is? Neil lives in Texas. He's a country singer and everything. Neil was on that trip. Great guy. And so we were entertaining on that trip, and we did a big. There's a picture around here somewhere from that trip. Me talking to thousands of troops in the soccer stadium, and there were probably 5,000 or 6,000 in the soccer stadium. This is in the Balad area. 5,000 or 6,000 troops. They're all out there. Didn't feel dangerous to me or anything like that. It felt like, okay, we're here. It's November 2003, fairly early on after we kind of started occupying things. We went out to visit some Iraqi schools that they had helped to rebuild. I started a program after that called Operation Iraqi Children. We started shipping school supplies over to the troops in Iraq, and they would take them out and give them to the kids, put them in the convoys, roll into a sort of somewhat tense situation, just get out, started handing out stuff, and it changed the mood. So that was a good program, and that started because of the November trip. So I didn't feel. There were a couple times where it felt a little sketchy in the convoy. Just going down the road and stuff. You're kind of looking around, wondering what's going on. But we were pretty good. Nothing happened.
Do you know if anything happened like to any of the others? Like, because I want to say there was one show that did get attacked, but I don't remember. Or an attack happened during the show, rather.
A lot of the times,
I don't remember.
You'd have mortars. I was going to expect you to deal with like one mortar incoming, and it is, as you said, Balot's huge. Like, Balot is a massive base.
Yeah, that was big, yeah.
And you'll have one that's, did they even have the alarm systems at that time, or is it just like, oh, yeah. So it's boom, 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 you'll hear them. You'll see either people running, or they don't care, and they're like, whatever. But was it only about one mortar situation?
Yeah, that night, because I was only there that one night.
Of course, the one night you were there.
Yeah, I was there that one night, but it seemed kind of routine, like it was a sort of a routine thing or something.
Oh, incoming. Yeah. Oh, speaking of incoming.
Yeah, incoming at that time of night.
Oh, it was a daily. If you lived on a big base, it was expected. If you lived out in sector and a cop, never get mortared because it's so small. But when you're on a giant place like Balad or Eagle, any one of those is just shoot a mortar and see what happens.
Yeah. When I was at Bagram in Afghanistan, some similar things. Some alarms went off. We had to hunker down and stuff like that. But I don't recall anything coming in. But there was a reason they set the alarms off. So yeah, you feel sometimes some pretty dangerous situations. On the other hand, I'm with a group that's surrounded by a bunch of guys with guns. So, I mean, they protected us pretty well over there.
Not a bad place to be.
Yeah. The show you're talking about is when Toby Keith came to Kandahar Airfield, and he played, and I was there, and it got bombed.
Oh, really? Kandahar?
Yes, sir. So it was my first tour. I landed, and then I ate at a Burger King. Yeah, at the boardwalk.
The boardwalk?
Yeah,
I played a concert on that.
You did?
I did. Yeah,
man.
In 2009, I played a concert on the boardwalk. But yeah,
I was playing a concert in 2009, but it wasn't that. You know what I'm saying?
Well, they had like Subway and Tim Hortons.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, and a bunch of fast food places on this boardwalk. Yeah. So you were where?
We landed there, but then we went to Garmser, and then I did that tour. But my second tour, I did the invasion into Marja. But like I just landed there, my daughter had just been born. And I have like all these weird feelings, and I'm eating like a Whopper at the peak of the military.
It's surreal. Yeah,
I think you did a video on that, like the Army's deployable Burger King that we have.
The Army has a deployable Burger King.
Yeah,
anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
God, I love this fucking country so much.
We're the best, dude.
Nothing more demoralizing to the enemy is like they're bringing in a lot of troops. Oh, they're bringing out a trailer. What's in that?
Yeah.
They brought a Burger King with them.
They're going to smoke you. They're going to have a good time.
Or Subway. There was a Subway.
There was a Subway too. Yeah. It was. I heard they even put a TGI Fridays in there.
Wait, what?
I swear to you. You can look this up on the line, but I heard they put a TGI Fridays in there.
Is it just as mediocre in the Middle East?
Yes.
TBI Fridays.
My first meal was like something like Subway or Burger King when I got to Kandahar.
It's wild because like it's such a big active base, especially at that time with all the NATO forces and stuff, and the Marines were like literally off where they turned into like a waste depot.
We're literally bringing capitalism with us.
Yeah.
All over. Yeah,
democracy's the best. But
how do these troops get by? Huh?
Yeah. It's called a Whopper.
Oh.
But he came in and he was playing, him and Scotty Emmerich, I think is his name. They were playing some songs and stuff, and he got to the end and he started playing the Taliban song, and then the sirens went off, the air raid sirens, and then like the Air Force attaché like ran up there and was like, no, and like we're all there because we're a bunch of animals. We started booing. We're like, get back out here. And then he came back out and he's like, well, I guess I'm gonna finish the Taliban song since they're attacking us. And he finished the song and then they took him away. But it was like crazy. I had a belly full of Burger King and Toby
my
Keith
gosh.
singing the Taliban song while
But
the
he
Taliban
wasn't
were-
playing on the boardwalk, though. right?
No, he was like off in a different area because they wouldn't let us go over there. But he was just like the Taliban, baby, you know, like
They
this.
banned the Marines from the boardwalk. Is that what you're telling me?
Shortly thereafter, we were not allowed to go back to the boardwalk.
I
Yes,
wonder why.
bartering incidents. But
On that trip, now I just, you know, the guy that played Bubba in Forrest Gump, Michael T. Williamson, I took him with me on that trip.
No kidding.
Yeah, and
Jeff
he plays
Ganson?
harmonica, so he got up and played with us a little bit.
Oh, that's awesome.
yeah, it's sick. It's crazy, and you know, just from my perspective as a veteran, I really appreciate everything your organization has done for so many people. Tyler Vargas Andrews, to name a few. Like, you've literally changed lives and gone out of your way to help people who need it the most, and like really show what true patriotism is, and it like means a lot to me.
Thank you.
Like from like the deepest part of my heart. I'm not often serious, but I do mean this.
Well, I appreciate what you did for our country.
Oh,
so.
it was my honor. So thank you so much. I'm gonna trade back out with a more handsome
love it.
version.
Yeah,
It's
thanks for
crazy.
sharing that.
Oh
Tom.
yeah, it was awesome. Thank you, sir.
Good stuff.
Just the amount of work you've done, and go into more depth with what your foundation does, because it changes lives in different ways and how it helps the community. So what is some of the big ways Gary Sinise is helping veterans or soldiers
Or families.
or families?
Right. You know, like I said, I got involved a long time ago, decades ago, and it just kind of spiraled into something. I wrote a book called Grateful American, and there's a chapter in the book called Turning Point, and that is really the September 11th chapter, and what that moment did to kind of galvanize me toward the service or veterans and first responders. And one way, before I had my own foundation, one way that I would do it was start with a lot of different foundations that were in a lot of different spaces, right? Helping our wounded, building houses for them, helping our families of our fallen, entertainment, whatever it was. And I would get involved with a lot of different organizations and support them. And so that gave me a lot of insight into where the needs were and what different organizations were doing to fill those needs, and how I, as a public figure, could best benefit that effort. So I started getting more and more and more involved in all these different efforts. The home building stuff that we do, where we build houses for our wounded service members, that actually started, I got involved with that before I had a foundation. So once I created the foundation, we created a program, we started raising money. Now we just gave away our 101st home that I've been involved with since 2010. And so about 15 years. And we just this past week, we gave away our 101st house. But I saw that was a need that was not it was not a service that was provided to our Vietnam veterans when they came home, right? Oh, let me build you a house, you know. It was Vietnam veterans disappear because it was not a good time to be a Vietnam veteran. I didn't want that to happen again, you know, to Afghanistan and Iraq veterans. And so got involved with the home building effort, started doing that. Now we have a very vigorous program where we not only build homes, but we provide adapted vehicles, mobility devices, you know, track chairs, wheelchairs, that kind of thing. We do home modifications. So we have, you know, dozens of home modifications in the queue right now, where we will go in, somebody's, you know, and we do these for elderly veterans. We do this for anybody who's serving, right? You got a lot of aging veterans, and you know maybe they're having trouble in their house. They can't get up the stairs anymore. We make the bedroom downstairs much bigger for them. Yeah. We go in, we fix the bathroom up, whatever. We do modifications, but we're still building a lot of homes from the ground up for people that have been very, very badly wounded. Tyler is one of those. You know, in fact, Tyler Vargas Andrews, when he was first wounded in that stupid withdrawal, I reached out pretty quickly to the hospital to find out what was going on with our wounded, and talked to his mom, and started communicating with his mom because he couldn't really communicate. And I wanted her to know that there were services that we could provide should he need that. And I'm glad that eventually he came around to applying for the program. He sacrificed a lot, and we want to do something to give back to him. So we have a couple of our wounded from the Abbey mess that we're building for. We probably have 20 in the queue right now. I mean, we thought maybe this was going to start to wind down a little bit. There wouldn't be as much of a need for us to build these specially adapted smart technology houses for badly wounded service members, but there are a lot of needs out there. So I don't want to be somebody who says no a lot, you know. So we have a pretty vigorous program, and we're trying to provide those services on multiple fronts to help a lot of different people. We've had World War II programs for World War II veterans. We just we're taking a bunch of Rosie the Riveters down to the New Orleans to the National World War II Museum, wherever we can serve those who have served and defended and protected us. That's where I want my foundation to place its efforts, and I feel blessed that the American people have kind of put their trust in us. To send us their donations, or they help us if we have a special project or something, like we'll have a disaster, a hurricane or something like that. Our National Guard starts going in helping. Well, we back them up. We'll go in with disaster relief stuff to help them help the people. So we're operating on a lot of different areas, mainly focused, of course, on supporting first responders, supporting our veterans, supporting our active duty, supporting our families of our fallen, wherever we can place our hands and wrap our arms around these people. That's what I want my foundation to do.
And I'm glad you brought up the mobility part of that, because a lot of people don't realize just how bad the VA is with stuff like that. I'm representing now, or about to be, one of the biggest veteran districts in the entire country with, Fort Sam Houston, Fort Bliss, everything like that. There's people that I've talked to that, need, for example, like a mobility, like a wheelchair, electric wheelchair, essentially. And there's limitations on if it breaks. Like, for example, in this case, like a battery broke. Like, okay, well, can we get it replaced? Well, no. Okay, well, if I go out and purchase the battery, will you service it? Well, also no. Okay, well, can I get another one? No, you're owed one every 6 years, I think is the cutoff. And so this guy's he's being forced to wheel around as elderly disabled veteran. I don't think there's an excuse for that.
You know what? Here's what I would say about that. First of all, if we didn't have the number of nonprofits that are in the space, veterans and first responder sports space, there'd be a catastrophe. I don't believe that the government can do everything. The government does certain things. I know my dad benefited from his VA benefits and all that, and many veterans do. But I always say, look, we as citizens who benefit from the freedom and protection of our defenders, there's a role for us to play. There is a role for us to play. I don't think we can depend on the government to do everything. They should always do more. But I always say my foundation should always do more. There's always more that we can do. And I think that's a great way for our citizens to participate, in helping our service members through difficult times. There's thousands of nonprofits out there that are in this space. And if they weren't here, we'd have a catastrophe. If it was all up to the government, massive catastrophe. So it's a good thing that these nonprofits are out there. It's a good thing for people to be aware of all the different nonprofits, and not all of them. You can't. There's too many. But be aware of some good nonprofits, especially in your area. What are the veteran support organizations in your area that are helping your local veterans? If every citizen in this country took some responsibility for, reaching out to the men and women who have served our country and sacrificed for our country, just to help them through their day, maybe just go buy groceries. If maybe somebody's deployed and that spouse is left at home and the car breaks down and she's got 4 kids and she's trying to manage everything like that, just a little helping hand can help that person a lot. And people always ask me, who should I support? What should I do? I always say, look in your own neighborhood, look in your own community. Are there veterans and military families and first responders who are struggling? Can they use a helping hand? It'll make you feel really good if you do it. You don't have to write the big check. You can do something very personal. Personal touches matter. I started by just a lot of personal touches, going out to the war zones and patting people on the back and shaking hands and taking pictures and sitting down and having dinner with them. That meant a lot to them, just to know that somebody cares. Know that somebody in the country who's benefiting from what they're doing to protect and defend us, that it matters to that person. And I try to let our service members know that their service matters, and to let our fellow citizens know that there are a lot of ways that you can show your appreciation.
But yeah, anything else? Do you guys have any more questions?
I was asked specifically to ask you about the Snowball Express.
Yeah, so this is the Families of Our Fallen Heroes program that we have. It started 20 years ago by some folks who wanted to, some veterans in California. They wanted to do some, this is 2006. We've been in Iraq now for 3 years. We've been in Afghanistan for 5. We lost, we're losing folks. A lot of children, struggling and suffering. And so they wanted to do something that would help the kids through difficult times. So right before Christmas time, they raised some money, and they were able to bring, a bunch of families with kids to Anaheim, to Disneyland, and all expense paid. Southwest Airlines was involved, helping to provide some transportation. They did one event where they brought the kids and they videotaped it. And right after that event, which was December of 2006, they contacted me. I was shooting CSI New York, and they knew that I was active and doing a lot, going overseas and that kind of thing. They contacted me and said, we want to do this again next year, and would you get involved in it? And they showed me the videotape of the children. These are all children that have lost a mom or a dad. And it was very moving. It was very moving to me. And I had actually been involved with the Intrepid Foundation, wanting to try to do something for children of our fallen heroes. That never quite got started and got off the ground. So all of a sudden this event comes, and I'm seeing all these happy kids at Disneyland. And I said, I want to help that. So I got involved the next year. I volunteered to go to the event at Disneyland, brought my band, donated my band, played a concert for the kids. And it was so moving. You see these kids and they've got t-shirts, and their fallen hero dad is on the t-shirt, or buttons or whatever. And they're right in front of me, these little kids. And I'm playing music for them. I'm trying to lift them up. make them feel good, and they were having fun. And so the following year, I went back again, got involved again. Then it moved to Dallas because American Airlines got involved, started providing all the transportation for the kids to go to Disneyland. Now we're going to move it to Dallas, which is the hub of American Airlines. And they have a lot of connections at Dallas and all this stuff. So we're going to move the event to Dallas. We're going to do it in Dallas. For 9 years, it was in Dallas. And I brought my band back every year to play for the kids and to help them through. It was growing. A lot of families that lost loved ones. I have a great relationship with Disney World, narrating that park ride and being in the movies and all that stuff. Narrating at Disney World a show called The Candlelight Processional. I was doing that every year at Disney World. So I said, the next thing we should do with these kids is take them to Disney World. And so I went to Disney and had a meeting with them, and we got them on board. We're going to bring 1,000 kids there. We're going to have this Disney on board, right? So after that, it was going to cost a lot more money. So we brought it into the Gary Sinise Foundation as a program of the Gary Sinise Foundation. So we have very vigorous programs to support the families of our fallen heroes. That particular program is really focused on the children, but we support the spouses, and we support parents of fallen heroes. We're getting involved in we're involved in so many different things. In fact, today we have what we call a city adventure going. You might have seen the balloons out in the hallway and everything like that. So we have a city adventure going where we're bringing in spouses of fallen heroes, and we treat them to 2 or 3 days of fun in Nashville. We show them some love, just trying to help them through these difficult times. I understand grief. It's a difficult thing to deal with when you've lost a loved one. These are people who have given a lot for our country, and we want to do something for the families that are left behind.
It's awesome to see how much you do for the veteran communities, the families. It is one thing, like, we were blessed enough because of the amazing community to donate towards the Gary Sinise Foundation. And we're going to continue like every year for November when we do our pretty much that entire month. We'll make a few shirts, and then 100% of profits we make that month, we just write it off and just donate everything we make, and we do it for special needs and veterans. So we've done,
as well as our own money too. Like usually if we have a goal and we come slightly shy of that or something like that, we'll throw in our own.
You guys are in San Antonio?
Yes, sir.
So I'll be at BAMC next month.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Come say hi.
I have my band at BAMC next month. We do, one of the programs that we have is we do these festivals at military hospital. I started doing it in San Diego in 2012, and we do it at the hospital. We'll be at Fort Belvoir. We were in Naval Medical Center in San Diego at the end of January, and we're at BAMC on the 17th. Right? Yeah, 17th of April.
I've got a lot of good friends.
Come on over.
Who travel. Would love to. Love to come see you. A lot of good friends that have trained there. But a lot of people don't realize how much of Army Medical, pretty much all of Army Medical, is out of Fort Sam Houston, BAMC, all that in San Antonio.
Yeah, we set up outside. It's during the day. We call it our Invincible Spirit Festival. So I'll visit the hospital, and then I come outside, play a concert. We have food, moon bounces for the kids, rock climbing walls. We set up a festival outside. So they look forward to it every year. Come on over and see what we're doing.
We would love to help out with that. That'd be awesome. I'd love to.
Yeah, because we would put out, even our posts. If we can help with any of that, let us know. That's one space we want.
I'll stay in touch with my team. They know that's, I have a concert at the Marine Corps Air Station in Miramar in California on the 15th, and then on the 17th, I'm in San Antonio.
Dan Band.
The band it's a rocking band, yeah.
Is that the name though? Is that?
Which is Dan Band? Yeah, it's really
Is
good.
that still just like your passion? It's just the music side of things?
The music is that's kind of my escape. Yeah, it's really, I don't go play golf. I don't go on trips other than for the mission. And so when I'm playing a concert, that's really that's my release. I pay the band. I've had this band for over 20 years. I play for free, and it's just part of the mission.
That's awesome. And then if we can, just a quick shout out to your son, Atkins. That's where you guys connected really, because that last album he did that you didn't know about.
Well, my son was, he was a great musician, a great composer. He was my number 2 drummer. So if my guy couldn't play, I would always ask Mac to sit in and play with us. He was just really exceptionally good. There's a picture of him over there when he's 9 years old with his drumsticks. It's the first day I put him on the drum set. It's over there, and I took a picture of him. He became just a great drummer, went to USC music school, wrote a lot of music, ended up working for the foundation, writing music for the foundation. He got very, very sick, and with a rare cancer called chordoma, and he fought it for 5.5 years, and in the last year of his life, he hadn't been thinking about music at all. And he said, "Dad, there's a piece of music I wrote in college. I never finished it, and I've been thinking about it, and I think I'd like to try to finish it." And he was paralyzed from the chest down from the cancer, and he was in a hospital bed. And he finished the piece of music. They ended up going to the studio, recording it with an orchestra. You can see it at Max Sinise YouTube. You can see the recording sessions for the first record. He called the record Resurrection and Revival. He ended up doing a whole album, 10 pieces of music. And the album went to press the week that he died. So he never got to see that album. But that album, that's a picture of my grandfather and his great-grandfather on the cover. And one of the things Mac did for the foundation was kind of resurrect and revive things in my archive, old photographs that I have from World War I, World War II. And he loved that picture of my grandfather from World War I. And he brought it back to life and put it on the cover. And he brought that piece of music that he wrote in college back to life, resurrected it and revived it. After he died, I started to find all this other music that he wrote. So that's when I did Resurrection and Revival Part 2. And then, believe it or not, I started to find even more after I finished that record. So we're putting the finishing touches on Resurrection and Revival Part 3 right now. And that'll be available in June. 31 pieces of music are on this record. Wow. I thought I found everything he wrote when I did the second record. But then I found all these little things and just all these melodies that he created. And so we've taken them and brought them to life. And I was listening to it on the way over here today, and it's great. You can download both Resurrection and Revival and Resurrection and Revival Part 2. You can buy the albums, the vinyls, all the proceeds go to the Gary Sinise Foundation, because that's what Mac wanted. He said, "Dad, I want to make some vinyls. If we ever sell them, I want the proceeds to go to the foundation."
And where can people find that if they want to buy the vinyls or anything?
The vinyls right at GarySiniseFoundation.org. Perfect. The vinyls are available. We've sold over 9,000 copies. People buy them. They don't even have a record player, but it's, they buy the album and then they go get a record player, because the music is very special. When you watch the YouTube videos, there's a piece called Arctic Circles, and it's an orchestral piece that Mac wrote. That's the piece that he was thinking about that he never finished in college. And he finished it, and it's stunning. It's a stunningly beautiful piece. That led to a whole album. Then I found more, and now I found even more. So between all 3 albums, it's about 60 pieces of music.
So wow.
Yeah, that he created.
when does the third one drop? And where it will also in the exact same location.
Yeah, you guys are getting a scoop. But I haven't told anybody about it. So it's
cute.
That third album is coming out in June. Yeah, we're gonna have it. It goes to press next week. So we got a couple of months where they'll print it and get it all ready. Get all the artwork done and everything like that, and then it'll be available on our website in early June.
Thanks, brother. Any last pieces of wisdom for the audience out there before we close this out?
I always say that we can. I believe that we can never do enough for the men and women who serve our country, protect our cities, run into burning buildings, try to save people they don't know, all these different things. We can never do enough for them, but we can always try to do a little more. And that's what I'm trying to do here, is just find ways that we can continue to do more, that we can continue to inspire young people and motivate young people to learn a little bit more about why it's important that we have defenders out there protecting our country, and that we're lucky to have. So all you veterans here, I really, my hat's off to you. I thank you. This foundation was created because of, what you've done for our country, and I don't take it for granted.
Truly appreciate it. But let me just talking to you guys.
All you. Thank
All you guys.
Brain. Hey, let's not even cook.
You got a whole crowd over.
Don't embarrass me in front of Gary.
You want to close this out?
Thank you guys for joining the Unsubscribed podcast. I was joined today by Eli Doubletap, the Fat Electrician, Gary Sinise, Brandon Herrera, and myself, Donor Operator. Thank you so much for being here.
We love you.
Yeah. What an honor it is to sit next to the Fat Electrician.